Y News with Angelo Castro III and Darlene Basingan.
Good evening. The government has begun sending members of the 5 teams composed of more than 100 members of the Task Force Bangon Marawi. Rajel Adora will tell us why.
Task Force Bangon Marawi is composed of personnel of various government agencies. They are tasked to conduct a post-conflict assessment on the war-torn city. The group targets to release its assessment report on the 27th of October. The 5 teams from Department of Health, Social Welfare and Development, Science and Technology, and other government offices were deployed last Monday. Of the 96 cleared village by the military, only 49 have undergone assessment as of today.
Yung mga teams natin na napadala doon, ito sa pangunguna rin ng ating Office of Civil Defense, interagency ito. Ang ginagawa natin kasi sa ating mga assessments, tinitignan natin magkano yung naging damage, ano-ano ang mga nasira. Tinitignan din natin, hindi lang ito sa infrastructure at sa housing. Baka may livelihood na nandoon sa lugar na yon, meron din tayong ongoing assessment.
The National Disaster Risk Reduction and Management Council or NDRRMC says it expects the teams to release their initial assessment report on the 27th of October. The Task Force Marawi targets to transfer to temporary shelters that displace 78,000 families until December of this year.
Target po ng ating pamahalaan is to build back a better Marawi City. Kapag babalik ng ating mga kababayan sa kanilang lugar na kinalakihan, makakabalik na sila na meron silang business, may bahay sila na babalikan, na meron at matuloy ang kanilang tahimik at progresibong buhay.
The Department of Health and the Department of Social Welfare and Development are conducting human recovery assessment on the affected residents of Marawi City while they are still at evacuation centers.
Pinapangalagaan natin ngayon ay yung kanilang kalusugan at ang kanilang kalagayan.
The NDRRMC says the government has allotted 5 billion pesos to the agency this year and 10 billion pesos for next year for the rehabilitation of Marawi City. The rehabilitation is expected to be completed within 2 to 3 years. Rajel Adora, UNTV News Rescue, Philippines.
Local government officials begin the process of allowing the return of some residents to areas in Marawi City not damaged by the war. However, authorities in Lanao del Sur call on the evacuees to wait for their advice before going back to their homes. Victor Cosare explains why.
Of the 96 villages in Marawi City, 33 are heavily damaged by the more than 4 months of clashes between the government troops and the ISIS-inspired Maute terror group. In these areas, the structures damaged by the bombs and ammunitions can no longer be used, while in areas considered control, the homes of the residents remain intact. The local government is currently processing the return of the evacuated residents back to their homes. But a process needs to be done before residents can return to their home, and one of this is a community cleanup.
Meron po tayong clustering after the cleanup drive. We would have a phasing, a clustering pagkatapos po ng restoration ng mga facilities, government facilities and services. This is within the controlled area, including yung mga schools natin. Papabalikin po natin yung mga residente natin dito sa controlled area.
Only 44% of households and establishments in Marawi City are without electricity. These are the villages within the main battle area. There is also no water supply in the area. The local government unit of Lanao del Sur explains that once residents in the controlled area can finally return home, they will still have to undergo a screening process with the help of village officials. The LGU plans to provide passes to the residents allowed to return home.
Remember, this calamity is not brought about by typhoon or by an earthquake. This is a product of an armed conflict, no? And there are several allegedly sympathizers na nandiyan pa rin sa labas. So of course, we want to secure our residents.
Meanwhile, residents evacuated from the main battle area will stay at temporary shelters. Before the year ends, they are expected to be transferred to the temporary shelters.
Pinag-usapan pa yung reparation for the civilian properties damaged. Wala pa po tayong yung official na master plan ng rehabilitation kasi everything now is yung tinatawag nating recommendation.
Meanwhile, authorities have recovered 144 dead bodies within the war zone. 133 of the cadavers have already been buried, including terrorist leaders Isdilon Hapilon and Omar Maute. while 61 individuals are still missing due to the clashes. Victor Cosare, UNTV News and Rescue, Marawi City.
The Eastern Mindanao Command immediately placed the entire region on heightened alert following the death of two top terrorist leaders, Isnilon Hapilon and Omar Maute. Aiko Miguel will tell us why.
Immediately the directive to heighten their alert and secure especially yung convergence areas dito sa nasasakupan ng Eastern Mindanao Command for possible reprisal ng sympathetic to the Maute and Isnilon Hapilon.
Law enforcement agencies in Eastern Mindanao are now focused on the possible effects of the death of the two top terrorist leaders, Isnilon Hapilon and Omar Maute. This prompted the Eastern Mindanao Command, or the ISMINCOM, to retain the heightened alert status in these agencies. The authorities are particularly focused on public places, checkpoints, airports and seaports in the region to prevent the spillover of the terrorist group.
Ang ating Eastern Mindanao Command is having a proactive measures, that is the conduct of information advocacy awareness, para i-insulate yung pwedeng i-recruit mga grupo, mga tao.
Activities in the coastal areas are also under strict and close monitoring.
Our PBLs or yung mga speedboats natin, patrol boat life from the Philippine Navy SEALs is always conducting coastal and maritime patrols dito po within Talikod Island and Samal Island. And of course, yung mga patrol crafts and patrol ships natin is naka-deploy sila, conducting also maritime patrols.
The authorities are also appealing for the cooperation of the public and to immediately report suspicious elements in their community.
Public safety is everybody's responsibility. That's why we are calling the public's attention to help us pagdating sa information gathering. Anything that you can share to us.
Aiko Miguel, UNTV News and Rescue, Philippines.
A woman who allegedly acted as a recruiter of ISIS and Maute Group was arrested by the National Bureau of Investigation Counter-Terrorism Division in Taguig City. Here's why from Roderick Mendoza.
36-year-old Karen Aisha Hamidon is facing 14 counts of inciting to rebellion for allegedly recruiting foreign terrorists to join the rebellion in Marawi City. She was arrested by agents of National Bureau of Investigation Counter-Terrorism Division in her house in Taguig City last October 11 by virtue of a search warrant. More charges will be filed against Hamidon after investigators discovered from her cell phone 296 posts in social media application Telegram calling on local and foreign terrorists to join the rebellion of Maute ISIS.
This was the message that she posted when the operatives of the Counter-Terrorism Division arrested her. She said that the soldiers of Taghut are desperate to defeat the Muhajirin of the Islamic State of Marawi City. But Malawi, they won't be successful. They won't be able to defeat the force of Dawla because Allah Azza wa Ja'al is on their side. That is why the Dawla is once again inviting all our Ikhwanil Muslimin in all parts of the Philippines and around the world to support our Muhajirin of East Asia. Let us go to Marawi in Mindanao to join the war against the conquerors of the soldiers of Tawag.
Justice Secretary Vitaliano Aguirre says the charges against Hamidon could be elevated to rebellion.
Although he was not fighting with the ISIS or Maute group in Marawi, the action of the subject clearly denotes that there was or she was in conspiracy with the rebels. So in my opinion, he should be charged not only of inciting to rebellion but of the crime of rebellion itself.
Hamidon is allegedly the wife of Muhammad Jaafar Magid, the slain leader of Ansar Khalifa Philippines, the group that orchestrated the bombing of Davao City Night Market in September last year. She was also a wife of Muhammad Shamin Mohammed Sidek, the Singaporean national arrested for his links to ISIS. NBI says Hamidon first became a person of interest in the middle of 2016 when she successfully recruited Indian nationals to join radical Islamic groups in Mindanao. Roderick Mendoza, UNTV News and Rescue, Manila.
The Armed Forces of the Philippines, or AFP, targets to finish the implementation of martial law in Mindanao until its deadline in December. Meanwhile, members of the government security cluster are set to meet to discuss on whether to lift or not the existing military rule. Here's why from Marge Pelayo.
It remains unclear if the Armed Forces of the Philippines, or AFP, will recommend to President Rodrigo Duterte the lifting of the proclamation of martial law in Mindanao. This is despite the President's declaration that Marawi City is now liberated from terrorist influence. In an interview on the program Get It Straight with Daniel Razon, AFP spokesman Major General Restituto Padilla Jr. says the military will continue to enforce martial law in Mindanao until its deadline in December.
Do you still feel na kailangan pa ho ang martial law or pwede na ninyong i-recommend sa Presidente na i-lift na martial law?
Sa kasalukuyan, ang aming pong paniniwala ay kailangan pa rin po ito dahil hindi pa po maaring tapos na ang bakbakan sa Marawi.
Yes.
Pero may patuloy pang nananatiling mga network na sumusuporta sa kanila. Tandaan natin may mga banta pa sa ibang lugar. Would like to maximize it up to the deadline so that we can address all the other matters that we need to address.
Padilla explains on the program the importance of the military rule in order for the government troops to be able to act fast. The military spokesman notes if to be compared with the Human Security Act version of Singapore or Malaysia, the law of the Philippines in terms of arresting anyone who poses threat to the government is too weak. However, Padilla notes that with the declaration of martial law, the process of arresting suspected terrorists becomes easier.
Sa martial law, na doble lang yun. At nagkaroon lang ng suspension of the writ of habeas corpus na bibigay daan na pag may suspetsya tayo, maaari nating arestuhin. Pero sa ganap na 3 araw, dapat makasuhan na natin ito. Sa normal times, hindi mo pwedeng arestuhin hanggat hindi ka nakakakuha ng arrest warrant. At pumipila tayo sa korte upang kumuha ng arrest warrant. At kung mga previous instances ang ating paghahambingan, may mga pagkakataon na nakapila pa tayo sa pagkuha ng arrest warrant na tip off na yung aarestuhin at nakatakas na.
Padilla says the Security Council will hold a meeting to be led by Defense Secretary Delfin Lorenzana before the term of martial law ends. In the said meeting, the members will discuss if they have to terminate the military rules implementation or recommend its extension.
Ang ating magiging basihan upang i-lift yung martial law ay kung na-address na natin yung kabuuan ng security challenges na hinaharap natin. At kung hindi pa natin na-address yan, siguro ang rekomendasyon ay talagang dapat panatiliin.
After the crisis in Marawi City, the military will focus next on destroying the entire network of terrorists in the country. Marge Pelayo, UNTV News and Rescue, Philippines.
The Commission on Human Rights will investigate on the operations conducted by the military in Marawi City. Here's why from Ray Pelayo.
The Commission on Human Rights is now verifying the complaints of human rights violation in the military operations in Marawi City. The CHR says they have already tasked their personnel to monitor the situation from the time martial law was declared in Mindanao. One thing they consider in battles like that in Marawi City is if the rules of engagement were followed.
Ang tinitingnan ng komisyon is that na-follow ba yung rules of engagement sana para ma-ensure na yung karapatan ng mga nasa kabila ay meron ding na respeto din.
The Commission clarifies they are concerned on the aspect of human rights, whether they are soldiers or terrorists. The CHR now hopes that the government will immediately rehabilitate the war-torn city.
We are looking forward na meron ng pagtingin sa rehabilitasyon na inclusive, yung mga usapin ng mga IDPs ay mabigyang pansin na sa tamang panahon.
The Commission also seeks for the lifting of martial law in Mindanao.
Ngayon wala ng threat because the Constitution says imminent threat. Wala ng threat. In fact, the President declared that it is liberated already.
Lorenzana says the CHR can go ahead with their investigation if the military observed the rules in engagement. The Commission believes even the terrorists have the rights which must be respected.
Pero ang pinagtataka ko lang, bakit sila masyadong concern sa karapatan ng mga terorista? Ako hindi ko ma-reconcile yan dahil parang lumalabas niyan, binibigyan pa nila ng importansya yung mga terorista na ng gulo kaysa siguro dapat imbestigahan nila yung mga pinatay ng mga terorista, yung mga in-execute nila ng walang kalaban-dapat. Kaya yung mga pinagre-rape nilang mga hostages.
Ray Pilayo, UNTV, News and Rescue, Quezon City.
4 Philippine airports are now included in the top 25 best airports in Asia. Meanwhile, the Ninoy Aquino International Airport has definitely gone out of the list of worst airports worldwide. Here's why from Leslie Longbowen.
The Ninoy Aquino International Airport, or NAIA, has inched its way out of the list of worst airports in the world, based on the latest survey of a travel website, sleepinginairports.net. NAIA has definitely gone out of the top 20 worst airports in the world list, where it landed in top 5 in 2016. It was believed that the issue of bullet planting in luggage had affected NAIA's ranking last year, but this was soon resolved under the Duterte administration.
Simple lang ang instruction natin, especially coming from the President. He said that tanggalin na yung laglag bala yan at mawala yan. Which, ang naginawa ko namin, pag may nakitaan kayo, pupupiskahin lang, ilalagbo ka, tapos makakaalis ka rin ho sa flight na sasakyan niya.
Frequent flyers noted the changes in the airport, but some still have complaints.
First time kasi ko papunta dito, tapos ang nakita ko ngayon is hindi siya magulo. Mahusay siya paggawa ngayon.
Palagi ko mayroon naman kasi hindi naman masyadong doon sa loob eh. Hindi na mahigpit, hindi na katulad dati.
Okay naman, laki naman na improvement. Tapos kaya lang yung wifi, may dalawang wifi nga, di ka naman makapag-connect agad, mahirap.
With a good survey result, the Manila International Airport Authority, or MIAA, assures that developments in the country's premier gateway will continue.
Sa publiko, we're open to any criticism, we're open to any suggestions. Kung may nakikita ko silang sa tingin lang mali, parating ho sa amin at para magawa ho ng paraan. At kung hindi naman ho, kung meron naman ho silang nakikitang kagandahan, sabihin din ho nila. Balanse lang ho natin para tayo magtulong-tulong para naman sa bayan ho natin ito.
Meanwhile, 4 Philippine airports have made it to the 2017 top 25 best airports in Asia. The Department of Transportation takes pride for the inclusion of Iloilo International Airport, Mactan Cebu International Airport, Clark International Airport, and Davao International Airport to the said ranking. DOTR Secretary Arthur Tugade says this inspires them to continue doing their job. Tugade says that now that the country is no longer in the worst airports list, the department will put its best efforts to get the Philippines included in the best airports in the world list. Leslie Longbowen, UNTV News and Rescue, Parañaque City.
Next on Y News. Fratmen's alleged cover-up attempt revealed through a group chat presented in the Senate inquiry today on Atio Castillo hazing-slay case.
President Rodrigo Duterte visits BJMP facilities in Camp Bagong Diwa in Taguig City and promises salary increase and housing benefits to jail personnel.
Y News will be right back.
Members of the Aegis Juris Fraternity allegedly involved in the death of hazing victim Atio Castillo III faced the Senate's inquiry today. In the said inquiry, a cover-up attempt among the Fratmen was revealed. Aiko Miguel tells us why.
For the first time since the tragic death by hazing of UST law student Atio Castillo III, members of the Aegis Juris Fraternity allegedly involved in the crime faced the Senate's joint public hearing today. They are Arvin Balag, the president of the Aegis Juris Fraternity, OJ Onofre, the one who called Solano to respond to the medical needs of Atio, Axel Hipe, the alleged recruiter of the group, and Ralph Trangia, the owner of the vehicle used to transport the then half-dead Atio to hospital. Manila Police District or MPD Head Chief Superintendent Joel Coronel presented during the hearing the online chat exchanges between the leaders and members of the fraternity from September 17 to September 18. Based on the transcript, the group was discussing an attempt to do a cover-up and a plan to evade the liabilities they might face for the death of Atio. The MPD also presented CCTV footage inside an elevator at the Novotel, where the Fratmen held a meeting to discuss the steps they would undertake regarding the incident. Senator Panfilo Lacson says what the MPD presented are strong evidences against the Aegis Juris Fraternity members.
It will assist the prosecutors and even the MPD in their investigation. Obviously, and parang unbecoming ng lawyers kasi sila yung nangunguna pa sa pag-cover up.
In the entire course of the hearing, the fraternity members answered nothing of the questions of the senators but just invoked their right against self-incrimination. This irked the senators. Senator Grace Poe even moved to cite in contempt Balag, which was immediately approved by Senator Panfilo Lacson, the chairman of the joint hearing. Balag later on appealed to lift the decision. But when asked who decided to bring Atio to the Chinese General Hospital and not to the UST hospital near the Aegis Juris Fraternity office, Balag has this to say.
As to that question po, I will invoke my right po against self-incrimination.
Then your contempt will remain.
The motion is carried. So, Sergeant at Arms, after this hearing, you place him under detention.
Bata pa lang ganyan na mag-isip. Kung hindi natin yan ilalagay sa tama ngayon pa lang, lalo na siguro pag tumanda na yan. Ang fraternity ninyo na may motto pa na do no injustice, suffer no injustice. You're doing an injustice to your fellow schoolmate, fratmate, brother, by not answering these questions. Nandito na nga yung mga magulang. Siguro naman kayo may pamilya rin. Alam mo, napakasimple. Ayaw na namin itong contempt na to. Ayaw namin mag-detain. Sagutin mo lang yung simpleng tanong. Pero kung ayaw mo, ikaw nang pumili niyang magiging kinahinatnan mo ngayon.
It was also revealed that the Aegis Juris Fraternity broke its own call to its members to talk and help in the investigation. Meanwhile, University of Santo Tomas Faculty of Civil Law Dean Nilo Divina denies having a hand in the death of Atio.
I have no liability, I have no culpability. So it established that I had no prior knowledge of the incident and I was not party to any cover-up. So there's no way I can be made liable.
The parents of Atio hope that Solano will continue cooperating with authorities so they could attain justice in the death of their son.
Umuusad na yung kaso. Now, with the Senate hearing, mas maraming revelation. So, I think naman lumalakas yung kaso natin. Kumaganda yung takbo. Walang lumalapit sa amin. Not even to offer help from them, wala. Siyempre, naawa ka rin sa kanila kasi their lives are over. Wala na. You think they're magiging mga lawyers pa sila? Hindi na. Tapos na yung buhay nila.
The Castillo couple also appealed to the fraternity members to return the personal items of their son, like his cell phone, eyeglasses, and watch, saying those were the last things they want. Aiko Miguel, UNTV, News and Rescue, Senate of the Philippines.
For the first time, President Rodrigo Duterte visits detention facilities of the Bureau of Jail Management and Penology in Camp Bagong Diwa, Taguig City. Rosalie Cos will tell us why.
President Rodrigo Duterte visits some jails of the Bureau of Jail Management and Penology in Camp Bagong Diwa this afternoon. He also had 1-hour situation briefing with Acting Chief BJMP Jail Director Deogracias Tapayan, and the official reiterated the need for improvement in the jail management operations. Other challenges as well are the lack of logistical and manpower requirements. Some high-profile inmates are detained in the facilities such as Janet Napoles, members of Abu Sayyaf Group, mother of Maute brothers Farhana Maute, and suspects in the Maguindanao massacre. The population of inmates in Camp Bagong Diwa now is 6,274. The chief executive said he is satisfied with the way the BJMP jails are being run, though the budget is limited. He also promised BJMP personnel to double their salary and include them in the housing projects of the government.
And maybe if you need an upgraded sa inyong mga security apparatus, you will have it, I assure you, next year. Maawa ang Panginoong Diyos, the economy is improving and we expect to collect more taxes, more to spend for governmental needs. As I assured you, sabi ko yung salary ninyo dublado. So by next year, dublado na.
BJMP is managing 475 jails nationwide with inmate population of more than 152,000 and managed by more than 12,000 uniformed personnel. Rosa Licoz, UNTV News and Rescue, Camp Bagong Diwa, Taguig City.
The Center for International Law, or Center Law, has filed today another petition for writ of amparo with the Supreme Court asking for protection for the families of the victims of the government's anti-drugs campaign victims in San Andres Bukid, Manila. Attorney Joel Butuyan says from June 2016 until last August, 35 suspects were killed in police operations in the area. They also want protection for the residents of 28 other barangays in San Andres Bukid and to stop the police operations in the area because the residents allegedly fear they might also be killed in the anti-drugs campaign.
Rampant dito yung pagpatay, rampant yung paghuli ng mga testigo, yung mga nakakita ng mga pinatay, rampant din yung sa madaling araw pinapasok yung mga bahay nila, rampant yung mga armadong mga kalalakihan na walang takot na rumoronda sa mga komunidad at pumapasok na sa mga bahay-bahay.
PNP Chief Ronald De La Rosa today confirms medalya ng Sugatang Magiting or PNP Wounded Personnel Medal to a Talisay police who got injured in a shootout in Cebu on Monday. PO3 David Naraha sustained gunshot wounds in the face in a gunfire encounter with a murder suspect named Jesse Largo. Naraha's valor prompted the PNP chief to confer the recognition to him, saying that the kind of Naraha is what the country needs. Aside from the medal, Naraha also received financial assistance. The Cebu Doctors Hospital also waived the medical bills Naraha will incur during his confinement. The Metropolitan Manila Development Authority personnel conducts another inspection along Taft Avenue and Baclaran. Here's why from Aiko Miguel.
Personnel of the Metropolitan Manila Development Authority or MMDA patrolled around Taft Avenue in Pasay City and in Baclaran to inspect if the vendors are following the proper areas where they are allowed to sell their products. With MMDA Chairman Danilo Lim and his man in the roaming team, no forced demolition of stalls took place as prior notices by the local government units of Parañaque City and Pasay City were issued to the vendors.
Ang ginagawa natin, dapat may order. May order. So kung makikita nyo dito, ang ginawa natin, nilagay na natin sila sa tabi-tabi na open yung kalsada para doon sa sakyan natin. At we will maintain it. Yung mga tao naman dito, very cooperative naman sila.
The management of the MMDA notes the importance of maintaining the cleanliness and orderliness of the stretch of Taft Avenue and Baclaran so vehicles can easily pass through these roads.
Mahalaga yan dahil nakikita ninyo parallel yan dito sa Rojas Boulevard. No? Magiging alternate route yan. And for the longest time, hindi nagagamit yan ng mga sasakyan. This time na clean na, makakadaan na yung mga vehikulo natin.
Last week, MMDA painted lines on the sidewalk so vendors could immediately identify where they are allowed and so passerby can pass through it. No vendors opposed the move and hope that the government will push through with the construction of People's Market in Rojas Boulevard where they can sell their products. However, they appealed to the authorities to let them sell in the streets in the meantime.
Willing naman po kami. Alam na po naman namin na kami mga vendors hindi habang buhay sa kalsada. Pansamantala, makikiusap po kami na dito muna kami.
Yan, channel na yan. It's a 60 meter by 300 meters ang haba niyan. Isa almost sa 2 hectare land. May proposal na kami, ang MMDA pati ang city, na tatayuan natin ng People's Market yan.
The authorities are expected to build the said market at the soonest possible time. Aiko Miguel, UNTV News and Rescue, Philippines.
The Metropolitan Manila Development Authority, or MMDA, begins today the implementation of a new traffic scheme along Marcos Highway. Here's why from Joanna.
In order to help ease the heavy flow of vehicles along this stretch of Marcos Highway, the Metropolitan Manila Development Authority, or MMDA, has started the implementation today of a new traffic management scheme, particularly beginning in front of the Robinsons Metro East Mall and Santa Lucia East Mall in Marikina City. If before jeepneys were allowed to load and unload passengers in front of this mall, doing so is now prohibited. All jeepneys and private vehicles that will unload or load passengers will have to take a right turn on the access road going to the backside of the Robinsons Mall. Jeepneys will have to exit the road beside the Santa Lucia Mall and ply the stretch of Marcos Highway. The new traffic management scheme aims to lessen the huge problem on traffic in the area, especially during rush hour, especially since jeepneys occupy almost the entire lane of the road in front of the mall.
Kung ilang metro yon, 250 meters, isipin ninyo kung ilang jeep yung pwedeng nandiyan na naibabawas natin dito sa main road natin. So talagang magiging free-flowing itong harap ng Robinson.
The new scheme is expected to ease the heavy flow of vehicles in the area as the fourth lane of the highway is closed to traffic due to the ongoing construction of the LRT Line 2 extension, and private vehicles can only use a single lane. The MMDA also sets up fences in front of the mall so passengers could not attempt to violate the new traffic rule and thus wait for vehicles on the back of the mall. 15 traffic law enforcers are deployed on the area to manage the flow of vehicles and assist jeepneys plying the newly designated route. MMDA will issue tickets to violators and order them to pay a fine of 650 pesos. Erring passengers, on the other hand, will face jaywalking penalties.
Kasi safe ang mga bata dahil nasa loob. O kagaya nandun po nakakatakot ho kasi mga bata baka masagi ng sasakyan.
Pag nandun kasi ma'am, sobrang nagta-traffic po talaga dyan sa Marcos Highway. At least po dito, parang naiiwas po sila doon.
The management of the mall meanwhile assures to put signages in front of the mall to remind motorists about the right direction.
We're just waiting for all the signages para kung ikaw ay commuter, saan ka pupunta, anong direksyon, pagpasok mo ng mall, saan ka pupunta, nandoon lahat ng signage.
The local government officials also plan to open some alternate routes in Marikina City to ease the huge volume of vehicles plying the Marcos Highway.
Gagamitin natin yung mga interior streets sa loob ng Marikina para maging alternative route, particular yung mga private vehicles. Meron tayong nakita ang dalawang maaaring gamiting kalsada bilang alternative route habang ginagawa itong terminal ng LRT.
Based on the estimates of the local government unit of Marikina City, the number of vehicles plying Marcos Highway will be lessened by 60% once the new alternate routes are opened. Joanna, UNTV News and Rescue, Cainta, Rizal.
The different law enforcement agencies in Butuan City are now on full alert status in preparation for the coming November 1 and 2 events. The Bureau of Fire Protection is ready to deploy its 20 personnel and 4 fire trucks in 5 major cemeteries in the city. Butuan City's Land Transportation and Traffic Management Office are also ready to man the traffic in the downtown areas in the city, while the CDRRMO has on standby in the 19 cemeteries in the city around 40 emergency responders. Around 100 police officers are set to be deployed in the major cemeteries in the city. Strongly advise the public to refrain from bringing prohibited items such as alcohol, firearms, and other deadly weapons. A non-governmental organization launches today an online navigational app for human immunodeficiency virus, or HIV. Rajel Adora will tell us why.
To help prevent the spread of human immunodeficiency virus, or HIV, a non-governmental organization has launched this morning SafelyPH, or #SafelyPH, an online navigational app designed to determine the location of nearest testing and treatment sites for HIV. Save the Children Fund, or more commonly known as Save the Children, expressed concern over the rising number of HIV cases in the country. It is for this reason that the group initiated the move to create public awareness on seeking medical treatment for HIV.
So we wanted to put information in the hands of people, mostly men. 93% of the new cases are men, so that they know where they can get tested, where they can get treatment, where they can find condoms, where the clinics are, maps. It's really easy to use.
A Department of Health January to May 2017 report reveals that HIV cases in the country has gone up by 48%. From 741 in 2016, the case ballooned to 4,388 this year. 95% of the reported cases are male, ages 15 to 24. The health department believes that the app can be a big help for the said age group as they are frequent internet users.
2 out of 3 infections are coming from 15 to 24 years old. And incidentally, ito din yung population na talagang technology savvy. So through research, it has been shown that this might be the mobile application should really be accessible to the young people.
The app is now available for download in Google Play Store and will as well be available in Apple Store in December. Rajal Adora, UNTV News and Rescue, Philippines.
7 individuals were confirmed dead while 1 person is missing as rains and floods continue to hit Zamboanga City. Among the flood-hit areas are Labuan, Maasin, Patalon, Limpapa, Sinunok, Ayala, Talisayan, Campo Islam, Calarian, and Recodo. Classes at all levels and travels with sea vessels were immediately suspended. Meanwhile, based on the report of the Office of the City Agriculturist, the damages to agriculture and fisheries due to the floods have already reached more than 52 million pesos. Water supply is also down in the West Coast. However, the water level in the Paso Nanca Diversion Dam continues to rise. At least 2,000 families are now affected by the flooding and they are currently staying at evacuation centers in the city.
The beneficiaries of the DOJ basketball team had already received the cash prize from the UNTV Cup Executive Face-Off held last May. Roderick Mendoza will tell us why.
One of the beneficiaries of DOJ Justice Boosters has received a portion of the cash prize from the UNTV Cup Executive Face-Off held last May. Justice Secretary Vitaliano Aguirre led the turnover of the check worth 157,000 pesos this morning.
Palakpakan po natin ang DOJEA, ang UNTV na gamitin ninyo sa inyong worthwhile projects for our employees.
This will aid the DOJ Employees Association or DOJEA, an organization of rank-and-file employees of the agency.
Malaking tulong kasi ito sa amin dahil kahit papano madadagdagan yung pondo namin. Tsaka marami pa kaming darating na project para sa empleyado. Like yung mga ano nila, yung benefit sa hospitalization or sa ano noon. Minsan kasi nagbibigay kami sa mga namatay, na calamity, na hospital, may sakit.
The DOJ basketball team, comprised of prosecutors and agency officials, finished third in the last off-season games, garnering a total of 250,000 peso cash prize for the Justice Boosters tax-free. Part of the prize were earlier distributed to 3 other beneficiaries, namely Silong Tanglao Foundation, Uswag Kabataan of 13 Martires City Organization Incorporated, and the Nazarene Home for Children Foundation Incorporated. This is the best finish for the Justice Boosters in 6 years at UNTV Cup that started in 2012. Roderick Mendoza, UNTV News and Rescue, Manila.
The PNP responders is not complacent despite being on the top spot of Group A at the UNTV Cup Season 6. Bernard Dadis will tell us why.
The PNP responders takes on the COA enablers on Sunday. Thus, the policemen gears up ahead of the match against the rookie team. But despite being the defending champion of the league and the 2-0 win-loss standing, Coach Eric Samson's side believes there are more areas to brush up on.
Mag-aaral pa kami, definitely, kasi kung ganito lalaruin namin sa mga pure-based game namin, delikado. So, mag-aaral pa kami, paano kami mag-improve pa. So, we don't need to be complacent kasi malalakas yung mga team.
On the other hand, the enablers with 0 game won and 2 games lost prepares to battle with the powerhouse team.
So dapat maghandaan namin yung man-to-man defense nila. Saka yung maraming shooter din sila eh. So dapat mabantayan namin, ma-minimize namin yung mga shooter nila. Kasi marami sila shooter eh.
The co-enablers has just experienced a loss from the 2-time champion AFP Cavaliers last Sunday. But Coach Freddy believes his team can improve more.
Nakikita ko, meron naman improvement. Dahil siguro bago kami. Second game lang namin yan. Siguro naman bawat game may improvement naman. So, sana tuloy-tuloy na yung improvement na yun.
Watch the Responders Enablers battle live on October 22, 2 in the afternoon at the Pasig City Sports Center with live streaming on UNTVweb.com. Bernard Daddy's UNTV News and Rescue, Philippines.
Coming up on Y News. U.S.-backed forces declare liberation of ISIS Central Caliphate, Raqqa. Monumental task of rehabilitation in the devastated city begins.
And users, celebrities, and politicians campaign against sexual harassment and assault against women on Twitter.
More from Y News after this break. An OFW from Singapore succeeds to be part of ASOP Grand Finals in his second try. Leslie Lomboen will tell us why.
Although Emmanuel Lipio, an OFW from Singapore, failed to make it to the ASOP Grand Finals last year, he was not discouraged to join the competition again. That's why he was so delighted when his song Sapat Na Ba won the March monthly finals.
I just told myself na that's not the end of my ASOP journey. I prayed to the Lord na bigyan niya ako ng isang magandang concept at sinagot niya yung panalangin ko.
Interpreter 2012 Karaoke World Championship finalist JV Decena admits that the song brought him to a realization.
Parang mapapaisip ka, sa dinami-dami ng binigay ba sa iyo ng Panginoon, sapat na ba yung nabibigay mo sa kanyang bibigay mo sa kanyang papupuri? So, ayun, napakaganda niya, talagang heartwarming siya talaga, kumbaga.
Although Emmanuel and JV are apart, the two exert joint efforts to achieve the best version of the song and prepare for the grand finals in November.
Halos every other day, magkausap kami kasi syempre may mga changes siyang gustong gawin and meron din siya na tinatanong sa akin, baka meron akong mabigay. So, yun ang ginagawa namin.
Meanwhile, the recording of the song and its music video shoot in Maragondon, Cavite are now finished. Leslie Lomboen, UNTV News and Rescue, Philippines.
Those are the reasons behind the news. October 18, 2017. I'm Angelo Castro III.
Reasons we delivered to you as they unfold. I'm Darlene Basingan.
Because we need to know, we will always ask why. Thank you for watching
Y
News.